first day yesterday, how did things go?
Oh, first day was great. It was just great to be out there with the guys. You go through a whole winter cycle with everybody, 8 weeks. Grinding together in the weight room. Building that camaraderie, and then to be able to put the helmet on, step on the field like that for everybody, it's a special moment. Team 146 for the first time, so it's always special.
How much do you feel that the game against Alabama on the Reliant West Bowl is a good springboard, especially considering how many of your guys are coming back that were in that game?
Yeah, it was huge. That game was huge for the whole unit. For all three phases of the game. Just really build that momentum. Going into the year, going to the off season, but at the same time, keep the hungry mindset. We're 8-5. That's nowhere we want to be. That's not the standard of Michigan here. Has set for itself. So we're no near satisfied with the result.
What personal goals do you set for yourself this season?
Personal goals for myself, I like to keep that stuff to myself.
Mm-hmm.
As a leader of this unit, this whole team. The goals as a whole unit are the only things that matter. In the first game of the year is all I'm focused on. Getting the team ready to go for the game one.
Week has said that he feels like the defense is a little deeper this year than maybe last year. Can you speak to the linebacker room and just the other guys there and available for you?
Yeah, I think the linebacker room, with added pieces and people that got to come back is going to be huge for us. And obviously another year under Coach BJ, it's always huge. We have another year of experience under the same coach. You can build the understanding, build the same concepts, then take the development to the next level as well. So, I'm very excited for.
Who are some of those other maybe linebackers that folks should be paying attention to?
Sorry, say that again, please.
Who are some of the other linebackers that people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Cole Sullivan. He's been putting a lot of work in this offseason. And then I've been really impressed with the incoming freshman with Osu, Chase Taylor. I think those two have done a really great job of just, wanting to learn, always eager to learn, asking questions. And then, the whole room, I think, is really taking a really step forward.
What have you seen from Troy Bowles?
Troy, he's just done a really great job. Like I said, he's been always in the room, working out. He's been really hard working out as well. I've been really impressed with him in just terms of just the maturity, coming transferring program, for him and me, being able to share the same experience doing that. So he's been really great at just, head down, asking questions. I've been really interested.
What is it about Barham that makes him, he can move around? He can maybe move to another spot.
I think it's his physical nature. He plays a game with a very physical mindset, mentality on the field. So when you're able to do that, he can be put on a lot of different situations. Up on the line of scrimmage, be able to handle himself against a big lineman. So he's very versatile. Very skilled. Very good player.
You posted something about going to Uganda. What was that experience like?
It was an unreal experience. It's something that I've been looking forward to doing for a very long time. That was a process that was started in January of 2025, and then to have that trip be successful at the end for spring break was awesome. It's a trip that changes your perspective on a lot of different things. From being in America for 16 years, a lot of little things you might take for granted. Being blessed to have the opportunity to come to America at that age. There's just a lot of things that I might take for granted, being able to wake up, walk, and then being able to drill well for a community, with water. Here in America, you might have a lot of finish on bottles, that you might throw away. I'm thinking we're doing it myself, but, in Africa and where I was at, and in impoverished communities, there's none like that because, it's such a scarce resource.
I think in that post you mentioned you trained 4 teams. Was that football or what did you do?
No, so it's 4 teams that are there in Uganda at that time. That we build up to then go out and then train other teams. So they have a team so they can go out for a week and drill 2 or 3 wells, and then that team get experience enough to then train other teams.
How did you get associated with 1 million wells?
Yeah, my godfather. He played a very big part in my adoption process coming to America. And so it was a very full circle moment. Me and him has stayed connected throughout all the years. I'm very blessed having him in my life. And so to have a full circle moment like that to come around and to be a partner in his foundation, it was very special.
Is there something you said you learn not to take things for granted? Is that something you can apply to your football and how you're approaching?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're very blessed. Just wake up every morning. You walk on your 2 legs. So every single time we get the opportunity to go in the weight room, you know, whether it's to watch film, you know, whether it's even just be in the commons, you know, eating lunch with the guys, eating dinner. You know, you just learn to really appreciate those moments. And then also when you step on the field, you know, not every single day is guaranteed. You know, it's the game of football, so you know, it's a dangerous sport. You know, it's a dangerous sport itself, but you know, it's so unpredictable. So unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen, and so you just really cherish those blessings, those moments you have with the teammates. You know, being able to put the helmet on.
Your unit seemed to really improve throughout the course of the last year. Could you speak on why that was and what made it so that you and fellow linebackers were able to kind of get from that point from Fresno State and Texas to Ohio State and Alabama? Yeah,
you know, it just really just goes on, you know, how we're built as a defense. You know, every single day, every single meeting, it's, you know, Coach Wink starts it all with smart, humble, and hungry. You know, we're just hungry. You know, understand the results that we may wanted at the beginning of the year wasn't happening, but we had a bunch of guys, whole defense is comprised of just a great integrity and ambition to want to strive to be the best defense in the country. And so I think everybody just took that challenge upon themselves, you know, look in the mirror, internally reflect on what they needed to do individually to get better, and then understood that was ultimately was going to help us as a whole defense.
Edge rusher TJ Guy available behind you.
Can I ask you about the video of you digging the well? That looked pretty physical and I mean, how tough is that? And is it done that way? It's just manually?
It's very challenging, but you know, with the technology, with 1 million wells has created, it's a very cool technology that, you know, helps you, you know, take some of the strain off you. You know, it's still challenging, when you're drilling 25 feet deep underground. You know, you're not unsure. You know, you might get some rocky terrain you got to drill through and stuff like that. So, you know, it's a very cool technology that allows you to have more than just one person on the machine at once to be able to drill. You know, so no matter your physical attributes, you know, you're able to get through it.
Since you've left, have you gotten updates on what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, we completed other wells as well since I've been here, and so, you know, it's been really awesome to see the development.
What was that moment like the first time you see clear, clean water?
You know, it's emotional. It's very emotional. You know, for myself to see that, you know, that moment right there changes a lot of views and perspectives just right then and there. To see little kids, children, you know, seeing water like that, fresh water. Because you're driving, you see a lot of people walking miles just to find water for the family, for themselves. And so to be able to provide a resource like that for families and this community like that, that's so readily available right there, it's really just, it's just very special. It's, you know, words can't really explain what you really see and the emotion. I feel like you really do got to see it right there to really fully understand kind of what the joy that you're bringing into people's lives.
How would you compare the start of this year's spring ball to last year? Obviously, there was a flurry of change, and new staff, and now you guys come in with, you know, some continuity and momentum.
Yeah, no, I think Coach Moore has done a very great job of just, you know, rallying this whole Team 146 under a motto of Team Over Me. You know, that right there, developing that standard upon the mentality upon everybody here, new guys, transfers, you know, and returning players. Understand that every single thing that we're going to do is with a Team Over Me mindset, and I think that right there is going to pay really big dividends for this team.
Why do you think Josiah is someone an NFL team should take early?
Josiah, man, there's a lot of things about Josiah. A few things that come to mind with him is his physicality. You know, he's very physical at the point of attack, very smart in his mind, and his work ethic is second to none. You know, the amount of things he does extra for himself, for his body, and then the leadership he has, you know, with the room. You know, just seeing him command the edge room last year was amazing to see. And then obviously for myself to take notes of how he led that room and how he's able to bring other young guys along with him. So he's just a very selfless leader, works very hard and very smart about the football game.
Could I get the name of your godfather?
Godfather, yeah, Mike Owens.
O-W-E?
O-W-E-N-S.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes.